So I want to share some thoughts with you, and I know it's going to be a little bit controversial and not everyone's going to agree. And if you don't agree, good. Let me know why you disagree so we can have a conversation about this, because I'm seeing a lot of web designers who are really struggling financially to get the value out of their skill set compared to how they used to, and certainly compared to where they needed to be going forward. And I want to share with you a 3-step process that really involves two sort of psychological or mindset shifts that really can 10x the value of your revenue. I feel like it's the difference between a $1,000 to $2,000 website versus a $10,000 to $20,000 web design package. And I want to share with you the 3-step process that kind of takes you from one to the other. And it's one of those things where not everybody is going to want to do this, because it's mostly with regard to marketing your web agency. And when I first started my web agency, I didn't want to market my web. There's a ton of web designers that do not want to market their web agencies. I used to be one of them, and I used to just create relationships with ad agencies, graphic designers, direct mail firms, and they would go out and get clients, and then when they got clients, they would just outsource the work to me, and then that's how I got my clients. That's how I got my work. The problem with that, especially today, is you just can't make any money like that. The cost of that type of implementation work is so low. A lot of these businesses are doing the work in-house. If they're outsourcing it, there's this international community of freelancers that can do it, and there's just no financial value in that for people like me and probably like you. And so what's the shift? How do you get out of that kind of freelancer, low budget, just burnout environment into something that's actually going to be really profitable for you and for your clients? And I feel like it's this 3-step process I'm going to share with you right now, where the first step is to pick an audience that you want to help and then build a solution first in a 3-step value ladder. And if you feel stuck on the niche idea, I'm not really talking about just pick one specific industry, I build websites for chiropractors. I don't think you need to narrow down anywhere near that much. I would say if you're thinking about doing what we're talking about right now, just work with local service businesses. That's people that have in-person interactions with their clients. So it could be a business where clients come to you, like a med spa or a barbershop or a salon or something like that. Or it could be where the business owner goes to the client, like a roofing business, carpet cleaning, like a service area business. But the common thread that kind of links all of these people together is they all have in-person interactions with their clients. And that can be the niche, because almost all of those businesses need the exact same marketing structure to get traffic, to pull leads from the traffic, and to convert those leads to clients. There is a little bit of a difference that you'll notice between some businesses that rely heavily on repeat business, like a dog grooming business. Every time you get your dog groomed, you don't go to a different groomer usually. You probably just keep going, even though you're not on a formal subscription. So a business like that would really benefit from customer loyalty and helping to drive repeat business. Whereas a bathroom remodeling business or whatever, they don't probably get so much repeat business, because how often do you remodel your bathroom? So just for now, push to the side customer loyalty and client retention, and simply focus on traffic leads clients. How am I going to get traffic? What are the traffic sources going to be? Once I get the traffic, what am I going to do with it? How do I pull leads from that traffic? And then how do I nurture those leads into actually getting calls and booking clients and so forth? And set up a value ladder system so that we can offer all of that stuff, or perhaps some of it. The client doesn't have to buy all of it now. They can work their way up to it if they feel like all of it is too expensive to start with. And so that's the value ladder system. And so there's an anchor down and a step up process behind all of this. The anchor down process is when I'm mentioning how the solution works. I've got a lead, I'm talking to a client, and I'm going to show them why the solution works. I'm really trying to differentiate between why my solution is effective versus how much I'm going to charge for a 5-page website. I feel like the old school approach is I charge this much per page, or my 5-page websites cost this much, but my 7-page websites is this much. And if I have an email opt-in form, that bumps up the price. And this is how long it's going to take. And this is my hourly rate. All of that stuff, I just feel like it's just unbelievably outdated and is really responsible for a lot of suffering. And it makes me feel angry when I think about it, because of how much suffering both web designers like you and me would feel. But if you feel stuck in that pricing schema or whatever, doing it that way, but also from the business owner perspective, if I'm only focused on doing what they tell me, and I'm just going to build a couple of web pages for them and then charge them for that, where's the traffic going to come from? Where do the leads come from? How do they get clients from that? How do they get any results from any of that? And I feel like they would be really frustrated, because they just thought, well, I just spent all this money on the web design stuff and it's not doing anything. So I feel like everyone's they're losing, we're losing, everyone's losing with this old mindset. And I would just like to get into the new mindset because it's so much more effective, because it's not about the cost of the implementation or how many pages there are. It's about where does the traffic come from? How do I get the leads? How do I get the clients? And I think it's really helpful to have a value ladder system, because if think about a Google search results page. Up at the top, you've got ads, and then right below the ads, you've got Google Maps, and then below the maps, you've got organic. So I'm going to say my top end package is going to focus on all three of those areas, the ads, Google Maps, and organic. But if that's too much, then I'm going to say, well, what's the price going to be? And my price for that point, for doing all the stuff, is probably going to be close to $20,000 a year. It's probably somewhere in the $1,250 per month range, with $3,000 to $5,000 setup. So that's going to be near $20,000. And I'm intentionally pricing that at a price point that's higher than I think most of the people that I'm talking to would want to jump into as the first step. I'd like to be able to grow with them over time into that top tier. So if they're like, hey, you know what, that's expensive, I have at least anchored my price at a $20,000 price point. That's a high price point. So anything that I recommend that's going to be lower than that's going to feel like a relief. But I see a lot of web designers doing it in the exact opposite way. They'll say, well, here's what the website costs, and then would you like us to do hosting and maintenance, and then do you want to do ads, and then do you want to do SEO? And so it's kind of going up the ladder. And every time you put another layer on, it's ooh, that's a lot, ooh, that's a lot, ooh, that hurts. But if you do it the other way, where you anchor high and then go down, anchor and then go down, then every time you jump down to a lower level, ooh, what a relief. I think that's much more reasonable. I can do that because you've anchored high. So that's one of the psychological kind of hacks or whatever that helps business owners realize the value of what you're offering in a way that actually allows them to actually jump into it. But the other thing that's really cool about this is when I anchor high, they get a vision for what it's going to look like when they dominate the entire SERP, right? The Google search results page. They can see the ads, they can see the map, they can see the organic. And then I'll say, well, if that's too much, we can work our way down. And so I'll say, well, let's not worry about the organic part yet, because that's going to take a few months to work anyway. We got to create content, and Google's got to index it and get backlinks. And so you'll probably have a 6-month time frame before you even see the results from the pure organic stuff. Why don't we just focus on the ads in the Google Maps area? And then they'll say, well, what does that cost? And that's my $10,000 package. And then that feels like a lot less than the $20,000 one. And then if they can't even do that, they might say, well, I don't have money for the ad spend. We recommend that clients start out with $15 per day for their ad spend. It's $450 per month. And if they don't have at least that for an ad spend, then I would say, well, don't do the ads yet, because we're not going to be able to run enough ads to actually get the ads to optimize, and it's just not going to work out. So let's do a marketing package that doesn't include any ad spend, but it also doesn't include that long-term organic stuff. We'll just focus on the social traffic, like the Google Maps stuff. So we'll optimize your Google profile, get you some reviews, get some Facebook conversation traffic. So Facebook conversation traffic is somebody says, hey, the dog just vomited on my carpet. Does anyone know a carpet cleaner? Somebody tags a carpet cleaner in that post, and then people click through the page and you get some leads from those conversations. So that's different from trying to create thousands of posts every day or whatever, and trying to build some sort of organic following on social media. So that's why my social package, which is the entry level price point, it's $500 setup, $375 per month. And if you break it down to how much does that cost per day, $375 per month, $12.50 per day. That's less than lunch. So any business owner could afford that, as long as they felt like that package or that offer was going to be the best use of their funds. And the way that we do that is we keep our eye on that high-end area, dominate the entire search results page. You don't have to dominate the whole thing all at once. We can work our way up in steps. And so the really cool thing about that is I'm not watering down the results. The end result is dominate the whole page. But if you can't do it all at once, I'm just stretching the timeline. I'm not reducing the price or watering down the results. I'm just allowing the client's budget to dictate how fast we get to the top of the value ladder. You can start there, you can start in the middle, you can start at the bottom, but it's a timeline stretch, not I'm not even doing enough to create an outcome anymore. And that's why people will say, if I'm just going to redesign the website, or if I'm just going to do a logo refresh or something, and I'm not thinking about the traffic and the leads and the clients, business owners are going to look at that and be I don't want to pay for that. I don't see where the results are going to come from. And they're right. There will be no results from that, because we're omitting the traffic and the leads and the clients part. Whereas even in our base package, we're still getting traffic from Google Maps and reviews and from Facebook conversations. And then we're going to set up the website in such a way that we can actually pull leads from that, like email opt-ins and a nurturing sequence. And then that nurturing sequence will drive people back to maybe an online calendar to book a call or to come in. So even that baseline package is still driving the traffic and the leads and the clients. Do you feel like that makes some sense? Give me a thumbs up or a like or a subscribe if you feel like that's making some sense. So now we've got the anchor down aspect going on. What about the step up part? So, okay, so let's suppose that the client starts at the entry level package, the $375 per month, $500 setup. They're just starting at that baseline package. Well, I'm going to say, where do you need to be in order for us to start running some ads for you so you can really accelerate your client acquisition through paid traffic? And then they'll tell you something. They'll say, oh, well, if I could get like 3 or 4 clients through the door, I can use some of that revenue, and I think we could have an ad spend ready at that point. So now I'm kind of setting a milestone for when it's time to step up to the next level. And they're telling me what it is. Like, I'm not trying to sell it to them. I'm just saying, when do you feel like, because keep in mind, they have the full picture in mind from the beginning, from the anchor down idea. They have the full picture of dominating the Google search results and getting traffic from Facebook and all that. So that whole picture is in mind. And they're saying, well, I can't do it all now. I can do it all later, but because I'm starting down low, I think I can bump up to the next level when, and then they tell you what the milestone is when I get 3 or 4 new clients. So first of all, that's presupposing their success, which is really awesome, which is also kind of sharing your confidence in your own solution, but they're selling the upgrade to themselves. So when they get the next 3 or 4 clients, I'm going to say, hey, that 4th client came in. Do you feel like it's time to bump up to that ad spend level now, like where we're actually actively getting more clients through ads? And like, yeah, I think that sounds great, because they've already told themselves that that's when the trigger point is. And then, of course, once that happens, I'll say, okay, well, now that we're doing this, when do you feel like it's going to be appropriate to jump up to that 3rd tier? And then they'll tell you that. And so that's the step up idea. So you got the anchor down and the step up process. And when you put it all together, it's just such a blessing. It's so great, because like for me, like I'm still doing the same skills, by the way. So one of the things I think is really eye-opening about all of this is, because we have the anchor down and step up process, that doesn't mean we have magic services that no one else knows about. Like, we're still doing web design, like graphic design, logo design, email opt-ins. Like, we're still doing all the normal stuff, but we're structuring it in such a way that allows clients to like get on board at whatever level they can with the full picture of an awesome package in mind, and then step up as they're able. And it's just such a great, I've seen so many web designers who like will just sell like an entry level package, but they don't even think about what the next level is. So they don't know when to bump the client up to the next tier. The client hasn't said when they want to bump up to the next tier, and you just kind of get stuck with all these cheap clients. And that's so frustrating. It's frustrating for us as web designers. It's frustrating for the local business owners who aren't getting the results. It's like everybody loses in that scenario, where everybody wins in this scenario with this pricing structure. So that's the idea about how to actually onboard the clients. But what about getting them to talk to you in the first place? Like, how do you cause clients to want to work with you? So check out this next video, and we'll go deep into how do you actually like shift people's mindset so that they actually want to start working with you now, rather than just waiting for them to come to the conclusion on their own. So check that out. That's awesome for lead acquisition. I'll see you right there.